What's up, everybody? In the booth tonight is in the car as we race to catch a flight. You know, is what it is. It was a long game. I'm Joel Klatt. This is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. It is the official drink of Fansville. After a wild ending to another great game, man, we've had great games this year, which I'm not going to complain about, certainly. But USC, again, kind of scrapes together a victory when it looks like they were going to go down. First of all, before I get into all the USC stuff, I want to give U of A ton of credit, okay? Because I thought Kevin Sumlin's team played with good passion, energy. They were executing pretty well in all facets of the game. Their defense played way better than I thought that they were going to play. I think they played better than even Paul Rhodes, the defensive coordinator, thought they were going to play. So a lot of credit to Arizona. I thought that was an encouraging game for them, even though it was a loss. You're never going to hear a head coach talk about a moral victory, but I think that there are certainly things for Arizona that they can build on. I thought their quarterback played really well, Grant Gunnell. Gary Brightwell is a guy that I think is a really good player at running back. And their defense, even with all of the transfers, the opt-outs, the new system, the new defensive coordinator, all the young faces, they played pretty well. And I thought that they did a nice job, just couldn't hold up there in the end. Now let's get to the USC side. That was a really sloppy win for USC. Remember now, Arizona, they had a lot of things working against them. It's their very first game. This is a team that was picked to finish last in this division in the Pac-12. And you can see why, especially with all like the transfers and opt-outs that I just mentioned. And USC kind of continually, it seems like every single week, they're continually kind of playing down to their competition. And I know that it's frustrating for USC fans, right? And I'm sure, and I hear from a lot of you. I live around a lot of you. A lot of you hit me up on social media and you're like, what's going on? Well, there's a few issues with USC. Are they talented? Yes, they are. Do they make the plays when they needed to? Yes. And in the last couple of weeks, Keaton Slovis, your quarterback, has played great football, not just good football, but great football in the last couple of series when they've needed it most and needed the scores to come back in those games, in both of those games against both Arizona schools. So, do you feel good about 2-0? Yeah, you'd rather be 2-0 rather than 1-1 or 0-2. I mean, you'd rather be 2-0 rather than 0-4 like Penn State, right? So I get that and I understand that. However, they seem to still struggle stopping the run on defense, and they got a little better at times during the course of the game. Marlon Tuipulotu is a really good player. I'm very high on him. And I thought that the defense played okay. Maybe not great, but I thought that they played okay. They were dealing with some injuries. Ufunga was out for a big part of the game. Naote Ote, their talented middle linebacker, a 5-star player, he was out for most of the game. He got cut on a play on his forehead when his helmet popped off, and then he just never quite got back onto the field. So that hurt them, certainly, because he's a talented player with some good speed. Now, having said that, let's move to the offensive side of the football. That offense is going to have to figure out a way to, one, be better in short yardage, be better in the red zone, and be better against zone defense, right? It's all well and good that you can throw the ball for 1,000,000 yards, but I'm sorry, they got to get better in some of those areas. And I think that they know that. They talk to us about that. And I think some of the fixes aren't just going to come with, well, the players are going to play better. Yes, you need to execute better. There's no doubt in what you're operating, but there are things that they can do. Right, I think that they need to get under center with the quarterback and throw out some quarterback sneak on short yardage. I think that they need to have the opportunity to call what I call like double width formations, where they have a tight end on each side of the football. What you do there is that you spread out the edge defenders. We again saw a 4th and 1 get stopped because an edge defender crashes down and stops the running back before he can get going because it's one out of the shotgun and there was nothing there to hold him off the edge. I know it gets a little bit technical, but they brought a little jet sweep motion on that play on the 4th and 1, and it was actually from the opposite side. That needed to go the other direction so that it holds the short edge defender. Short edge meaning the edge of the offensive line that only has an offensive tackle and not a tight end. If you're able to hold that guy with that jet sweep motion, then you can just run the little zone play on the interior. But with an inability to hold him there, and if you're not going to read it from the quarterback in a zone read, he's just going to crash down and make that play. They've got to fix that. It's the second straight week that we've seen them fail on a 4th and 1 on a very similar style of play. I'll be interested to see what the conversation is like about Kedon Slovis after the game, because he didn't play well, he didn't look well, and frankly, I don't know if he was all that healthy. Some of those passes that he was throwing did not look like him at all. You know, they were wobbling coming out. He was overthrowing several guys, but I can sit here and be negative Nancy all I want. They are 2-0 because they made plays, right? The quarterback, Kedon Slovis, made the requisite throws when he needed to in order to win the football game. And I think, you know, moving forward, we'll see if they fix some of those issues. We'll see if they just say, hey, that's not in our nature. But at this point, they have a quarterback that played great in the last 2 series of the last 2 ball games, and they were able to win. And that's going to mask a lot of those deficiencies that we see from USC. They're going to be favored to win the rest of their games. But at this point, and I made this comment during the broadcast, you know, you're trying to build a resume a little bit. That's one of the reasons why Cincinnati, you know, had the fake punt and they were going after points late in that ball game against East Carolina, is because college football is a bit of a beauty contest. So to be considered for the playoff, you've got to look the part. And even though they're 2-0 and their record looks the part, their dominance hasn't been quite there. So we'll see if that increases during the course of the year. And let's hope that they can play next week against a Utah team that's struggling to get on the field with some COVID issues. So that's going to do it here from in the car, aka in the booth. This has been brought to you by Dr. Pepper. We'll see if I make my flight. If not, I'll just stay in, I guess, Phoenix for the night and get home in the morning. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hope you enjoyed the college football. We'll see you next week.